Ho Chi Minh City is the largest city in Vietnam. Formerly known as Saigon, it has a population of over 9 million people and is known for being a vibrant city as well as the economic hub of Vietnam. In the fifth part of my Southeast Asia trip, I spent a day in the city to see what it had to offer.
Good morning, welcome to part 5 of my Southeast Asia series. Today I'm in the city of Ho Chi Minh. Initial thoughts, it is very, very busy, but it's very different to Hanoi. Whereas Hanoi felt sort of a bit traditional, very narrow streets, there's a lot of like French architecture all around the place. Ho Chi Minh City feels very more like urbanized and commercialized, it's wider roads, just also seems to be a lot more people here. Ho Chi Minh City used to be known as Saigon for many hundreds of years, and it only recently changed to Ho Chi Minh City in the last sort of 30 to 40 years. Now, I was speaking to a local who works at the airport last night, and he was saying that whilst they still refer to Ho Chi Minh City like internationally, the locals prefer Saigon and sort of use Saigon more often. Whilst I'm going to be staying in Ho Chi Minh City for a few days, today is the only day I'm actually sort of in the city itself. So I thought I'd take you guys with me as I go about the city and show you what the city has to offer. Just walking around the streets of Ho Chi Minh City, I had a look online before I left at the hotel to see things to do around here and to see, and I'll be honest, there wasn't a huge amount. It was mainly like old French colonial buildings as well as like a few museums, though there was a Remnants Museum which I think is dedicated towards the Vietnam War, so I think that would be quite good to check out, and I'll definitely will visit this at some point later today. But other than that, there doesn't seem to be a huge amount going on within the city itself. I'm about to demonstrate how to cross the road in Ho Chi Minh City. Similar to Hanoi, there's no real crossing lights. Cars and motorbikes keep going back and forth. So the only way to really cross the road is you just have to walk with confidence and hope no one runs into you. Here it goes. Okay, maybe that. Okay. Yep. That's 101 on how to cross the road in Vietnam, especially in the major cities. So the first stop of the day on my unofficial self-guided tour around Ho Chi Minh City is this Saigon Central Post Office, which is right in front of me. It's this beautiful French colonial building. Within the main atrium there seems to be quite a few like souvenir shops, though if you look around here there are still some counters dedicated towards Vietnamese post, which I'm guessing is like the National Postal Service around here. And we even got like a little portrait, or a massive portrait of Mr. Ho Chi Minh himself right at the back over there, the namesake of the city. If you remember from my Hanoi video, make sure you watch that if you haven't already, we visited his mausoleum. There wasn't as much to see as I thought there would be, because given it's a massive building, they've already opened up like the main atrium and some of the side halls. But yeah, I guess it's not too bad, and it's free to visit, so why not? One thing though I do want to comment on is the weather today. Vietnam, it has been relatively hot throughout my stay here, but I feel like today we've hit new heights. The temperature is currently 33 degrees, but with the cloud and everything, it feels so much more humid than that. I am sweating so much. Luckily, I'm wearing a black shirt, so the sweat isn't showing too badly. I need to stop somewhere and just grab like a cold drink or something to sit in a bit of AC. Right across from the post office is the Notre Cathedral, or should I say its official name, Notre Saigon, which you can see just over there. This was built by the French in the 1800s. It's sort of similar in design to Notre Cathedral in Paris. Sadly, like the Notre Cathedral recently, and like most other historical buildings I've seen throughout this year, it is under reconstruction. I'm going to see if I can go inside, but I have a feeling I might not be able to. Is the cathedral closed? You don't speak English, no worries. It does seem to be closed, like it's all boarded off and they've got like a little thing over here so that people can't go inside. Just looking at the sign over here, it seems like it's only open between certain times of the day and it's only open during services, though that could be completely wrong. And yeah, just looking over here, I'm assuming that's like the main entrance, but it's all like shut off. In fact, it's actually covered in vegetation. The time is now currently 1 p.m. I feel like now would be a good time to stop somewhere, grab some lunch, but more importantly, get a cold drink. Hi there, can I get the beef fajita bowl and the Dawn smoothie? I got myself a mango and basil smoothie, which just turned up. That's pretty good. It's very good. Exactly what I needed. And it's just ice cold as well, which just helps so much in this weather. Just finished lunch. It was pretty good. Bit more on the pricier side. Typically I've been having food here for about 3 or 4 quid, so that's for a meal and a drink. But this was about £8, so essentially double the price. But if you put things in perspective and compare it to Europe and UK, then it's pretty good value for money still. Heading to the War Remnants Museum now. Bit of a fun fact for you guys. The War Remnants Museum used to be known as the Museum of American Chinese War Crimes, but that was considered a bit too aggressive, shall we say, and so they changed the name, especially after the American-Vietnam sort of normalized relations in the 1990s. I've noticed in Vietnam, they are still quite heavy on the anti-America sentiment, especially if you look at some of the souvenirs, especially the ones that's on Hanoi, which is obviously the capital of North Vietnam, or was the capital of North Vietnam, and sort of where the communist regime of Vietnam started from. There was a lot of like anti-B-52 like postcards. I've seen lots of American tourists around, and maybe if you go to like the villages and like maybe speak to an older generation who were here during the difficulties of the war, you might have slightly different opinion. I've made it inside to the War Remnants Museum. It's only 40,000 dong, which is what, about £1.20 maybe slightly more. But yeah, outside in the courtyard they have a plethora of American sort of vehicles and aircraft that were used during the Vietnam War. I'll be honest, I don't really know much about the Vietnam War, apart from a few bits I've heard here and there and a few things I've read online. It's not really something that's covered in school in the UK, unlike World Wars I and II, which I guess the UK had a much more active involvement in, and was also a lot closer to home. To aid your experience in the museum, you can get one of these guidebooks, which is about 20,000 dong, and it sort of gives you a brief history of the Vietnam War, as well as a bit more information about the various exhibits within the museum. Just finished going around the museum, and oh my god, that was like a real eye-opening experience. Some of the photos and images there are just so brutal, so horrific. It brings home the truth about how brutal the war and devastating the war must have been for the people of Vietnam, and the fact that they've managed to sort of grow past it into being one of like the fastest growing economic countries within like Asia. It just really shows how determined they must be as a nation. Now the next place I want to go to is about a half an hour walk away. Normally I would just walk it, but given how hot and humid it is, I fancy just getting a grab bike. Luckily I've got a helmet this time. This taxi ride is costing me 14,000 dong, which is like 50p. That's just crazy to think about. Can you imagine getting a taxi for less than a fiver in Europe or UK? It's just unthinkable, and I feel like this is the best way to get around like the cities of Vietnam. And yes, it's a little bit sketchy, but it's lots of fun, and I feel like this is the best way to truly experience how crazy the busy and the streets of Vietnam really are. I've come to Thanh Market, which is this very famous market within Ho Chi Minh City. It has over 6,000 different vendors in there, selling all kinds of goods, from electronics to garments to food to souvenir. You name it, it probably has it. I want to go inside and see what this market has to offer, and maybe grab a few things for myself as well. It's insane how busy it is inside here. There's so many people, so many different stores selling so many different types of goods. It's just so crazy. So I may have messed up a little bit. I left all my cash stupidly at the hotel, and being a market, that means you have to pay in cash, and they don't accept card. So I won't be buying anything today. But not to worry, the time is currently 5:30. I'm going to grab a quick dinner and then head back to the hotel. We have a very, very early start tomorrow morning. I'll be honest, wasn't a huge fan of Ho Chi Minh City. Yes, it's a big city. Yes, it's a beautiful city full of lots of people, but I don't know, I felt like Hanoi was better. It was more traditional, more local. It felt more like Vietnam, whereas Ho Chi Minh City feels more of a mix of like traditional and westernized cultures. Anyway, I'm going to sign out of this video now. Make sure you subscribe, like, do all that good thing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.